Hello, welcome back to an all new video. Um, in this video, I'm going to be showing off my Fast and Furious soundtrack collection. These are some of these soundtracks to Fast and Furious that I own. I don't own a lot of the soundtracks. I know there's like a few that I'm missing, but that's okay. I know a lot of these particular ones that are really hard to find, like with Fast and Furious, Fast 5, F9, and Fast X. Those ones are really hard to find. I don't know why they're not having those ones right now, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm not mad. I'm not worried about a lot of those. But these are just some of the ones that I own and stuff like that. Like I said, with this year marking 25 years of Fast and Furious, we're talking about not just one particular movie. We are talking about the entire franchise as a whole. The entire franchise as a whole was launched 25 years ago in 2001 with the original The Fast and the Furious. So, like I said, why not celebrate the 25th anniversary of Fast and Furious, 25 years of Fast and Furious. Let's kickstart, with my soundtrack collection. I'm excited to talk about, my soundtrack collection. To really kickstart 25 years of Fast and Furious. This is a franchise that I've known, that I've, like I said, got into. It's one of my favorite movie franchises. Yes, there are some films in this franchise that are not good, but that's okay. Like I said, I personally don't care about all that. But like I said, I want to talk about, my soundtrack collection, some of the stuff that I have in my soundtrack collection. So, like I said, if you guys can, grab yourself a can of NOS, crack it open, and let's talk about my Fast and Furious soundtrack collection. So, here's a can of NOS, and then we're going to get into this video. Like I said, can of NOS, you gotta have it. One of my most favorite energy drinks ever. Like I said, I love this energy drink. It was also, you can tell it was introduced in the fourth Fast and Furious film. So here's a can of NOS to help commemorate the 25th anniversary of Fast and Furious. So, can of NOS. So, let's go ahead and let's get into this video. Up first, we have The Fast and the Furious. This is the original motion picture soundtrack. Such a great album. I love this album. So, here's the front. Here's what the back looks like. Let's take a look and let's open it up. It comes with this really cool insert. So basically, this is what it looks like. Kind of open it up and what it looks like inside. Not a whole lot. There's some shots from the film. So yeah. So there's basically the insert for the Fast and the Furious soundtrack. Here's what the disc looks like. Not a whole lot, not really much on there. So that's what the disc looks like. And then, of course, you know, nothing much inside, so here's what it looks like from the when you open it up. Not much. So here's the Fast and the Furious, the soundtrack. Here's Too Fast, Too Furious. This basically says Too Fast, Too Furious soundtrack. Nothing much. Here's what it looks like on the back. Nothing much. Like I said, open it up. Of course, we gonna look at the insert. Here's what it looks like. Nothing much. And then, of course, you know, we look at what's inside. Like I said, there's really not much inside. So that's basically it. And then here's what the disc looks like. Has a picture of Ludacris, and then of course it's Too Fast, Too Furious soundtrack. Not a whole lot. For what I say, you know, like the movie itself was not great, but the soundtrack album was amazing. So I do enjoy the soundtrack album more than I did the movie. So of course, open it up. That's basically what it looks like. And then, as a whole, here's what it looks like. Nothing much. So here's Too Fast, Too Furious, the soundtrack. Moving on to the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Here's the soundtrack. It took me a while to find this soundtrack. I was so excited to finally own the soundtrack on like a physical disc. So here's the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. We're going to look at the insert first. Nothing much. That's basically what it is. So here's the back. There's not really much inside as for the insert, so that's basically all you're gonna get inside for the insert. Nothing much. So and then here's what it looks like for the disc. Nothing really much. So here's the disc for the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift soundtrack. Nothing much. And then, like I said, that's basically what it looks like. Nothing much. So here's what it looks like as a whole. And then you get basically all that. And then, of course, you get the disc. So here's the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, the soundtrack. Moving on, like I said, I don't have 4 or 5, so don't get mad at me. Here's Fast and Furious 6. This is the soundtrack, which I gotta say, it's much better than the movie. I really enjoy the soundtrack more than I did the movie. So here's the front. What it looks like on the back. So open up, here's what the insert looks like. And then now you really get into it. So here's what it looks like. Not a whole lot. So here's what the disc looks like. Fast and Furious 6. And then what it looks like inside. So that's basically what it looks like all together. Got your insert, and then you got your disc. So here's Fast and Furious 6, the soundtrack. Furious 7, this is the soundtrack. Like you got your front and then the back. Front of your insert. Like, it's nothing much of that, like, really spectacular, just a bunch of information on the back. And then you open it up, and then you got that particular part right there, and then, of course, the back of the insert, Vin Diesel, and then, of course, you got Paul Walker. And then you got your disc, nothing much. And then, of course, the inside, you got Vin Diesel. So here's the Furious 7 soundtrack. Much better than the movie. Like I said, I personally would say the soundtrack it's much better than the movie. So here's the soundtrack to Furious 7. Moving on. Well, first let's get a drink of NOS. Alright, moving on. We are moving on to The Fate of the Furious. This is the album, the actual soundtrack album. It's really cool to have this soundtrack. I've really been on the hunt for this for a while, but I'm glad that I finally own it. It's a great soundtrack. It's better than the actual movie. So here's The Fate of the Furious. The front. Nothing, especially the front and the back, nothing much. I think really, truly exciting. Got the front of the insert. Like I said, there's some stuff. Nothing much, nothing truly exciting. So then there's the back of the insert. Like I said, nothing much. And then you got your disc. That's what it looks like. The Fate of the Furious, the album. And then that's what it looks like inside. So there it is, guys. The Fate of the Furious, the album. Last and but not least, we have the original motion picture score, The Fate of the Furious, music by Brian Taylor. Here's the front. The back. It's really cool that I own this, but like I said, this wasn't the actual soundtrack that I was looking for at the time, but I got it anyways. Here's The Fate of the Furious, the original motion picture score. Open it up. There is an actual insert, which is really cool. Excuse me. Here's what the actual insert looks like. You get more stuff out of this one, so which is really cool. Then of course, you got that part, and then you get more into it and stuff like that. Of course, there's Hobbs and there's Shaw. you got the shot of the tuba ray sequence that opened the film. And then you got that part, the last part of it. Put that in there. And then here's the disc. This is what it looks like. Nothing much, nothing exciting, and stuff like that, but it is what it is. And then that's what it looks like inside. Like I said, nothing much, nothing exciting. So there you have, guys, the original motion picture score, The Fate of the Furious. Nothing exciting. There it is, guys. That is my entire Fast and Furious soundtrack collection so far. I know I'm missing some, but that is okay for right now. I know a lot of them I can't find, but here's what I have for the Fast and Furious soundtrack collection. Like I said, we have The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7, The Fate of the Furious, the album, and then the motion picture score for The Fate of the Furious. That is it, guys. That's all I own for the Fast and Furious soundtracks. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Like I said, I am looking forward to celebrating 25 years of Fast and Furious. It's going to be great. This is a great time to be a Fast and Furious fan. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so that way I can see you guys back here next time. Please follow me on Instagram at CinematicTimeWithJ. Follow my podcast on Spotify at Cinematic Time with Jason. I look forward to getting back into creating more content for you guys. See you guys next time. Take care, and hope you guys have a great evening and have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys next time on the next video for Cinematic Time with Jason. Take care, and remember, ride or die. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. And I'll see you guys next time as we continue our 25th anniversary special edition of Fast and Furious as we celebrate 25 years of Fast and Furious. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.